time is it in Italy?
You said 8 hours.
They're 7 hours ahead of us.
Are they? A little early in the morning, in other words.
Yeah, Larry said it was 1 o'clock in the morning over there.
We'll go ahead and get started with our budget work meeting. We appreciate you being here. We're a little late getting started, but we want
7 hours ahead of us.
You're good. Okay. And we want to excuse David, who's not with us tonight, and Larry, who will be on Zoom, if he can make it. So we're going to turn the time tonight over to our city treasurer, Cami Moss, and help me. No. Okay, I'm good. There we go. Okay. Just want to make sure we're good. Oh. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, it's like a little though. Okay, well, we'll make it work, right? Okay, so. The purpose of this meeting is for you guys to give me direction as to what's important for you so that then I can devise the budget in such a way that it accommodates the things that are important to you as the council. I've gone through, like I did the previous year with Jared, and we've said, okay, these are the projects that we find are important for the city or need to be done in various capacities, and discussed those things. And then we've also looked at, where the budget is at and tried to see if there was any places we needed to adjust. So tonight I thought we would start more so with, our enterprise funds, more so the stormwater, and then maybe do garbage and sewer. And then if we can, talk about the roads. But first off, I wanted to bring one thing to for your discussion that I needed to kind of get some direction on. And that is employees' wages for this coming year. And this is something that drives a lot of the budget. So I want to make sure that I have a clear understanding of what the council's intentions are with that. Of course, this is our wish list. I'll put it together, see how close we come, and then from there, we start cutting and adding and manipulating, okay? But this gives me a good basis to start to give you something that is meaningful. So, currently, I've got the current wages, benefits, and then the total on here for each department and such. And then we looked on the workforce service website, cost of living is 2.6. With the 2.6, we just rounded it up to 3 for cost of living. We could definitely do 2.6, but for simplicity, we did a 3% cost of living is what we figured. And with that, it does increase the overall budget for the city with wages by 66,000. Then we kind of ran a couple other just thought processes, and if anybody wants me to do something different, please feel free to say, this is what this point of the meeting is to get direction. But I ran a scenario that if there was 3% and 2% merit for everybody, it would then cost us another 20. If we went 3% and then 4% for anybody that was making under 25 and 2% for the rest of the employees, it would be 26 more than just the cost of living. And then we did 3% plus 6% for anybody under 25 and 4% for anybody under 30 and 2% for the rest. And it'd be 36 more than just the cost of living. Is there, what's your thoughts? What are you guys is wanting to see? Of course, how you administer it is a different thing. But what type of, how do you want to address employees this year?
What?
Well,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say cost of living, I think that just out of the gate, I think that's kind of a given anymore.
For sure.
Okay.
So,
So,
and at 3%, I don't see a problem. That's usually what it's been.
yeah, I mean, some people
So-
are saying 2, but like I said, it was 2.6 on the state website. I just went with 3. Cause
Mhm.
yeah. So are we thinking just the 3% or do we want to give employees? And again, the merit is meant to budget that you can give the employees more, but it does not mean that they get it. It's up to you guys to know how to manage it. And how to determine who gets what, or if they're done something to, merit that merit increase.
So what are we looking at with the employees? I haven't talked to a lot of them. What's their thoughts on stuff? I guess my question kind of is, are we in any danger of somebody walking because they need more money
Okay,
that
so
we need?
with the cost of living and the 2% for everybody, you're looking about $1 an hour per person
Oh, wow.
at least. Not very much more than that for your lower end employees. What I was trying to find was, at what point did the lower end employees at least get $1 an hour? Now, some of your higher end would be more like $2 an hour, but your lower end employees, and that's why I kind of ran these other ones saying, okay, maybe those lower end guys need a little bit more, And there's nothing saying we couldn't do 2% for everybody under 25 or under 30, but I basically was looking for what would give those lower end guys and gals, employees, at least a $1 raise. And that gave everybody pretty close to a $1 raise, at least,
Which actually,
at minimum.
in today's economy, doesn't strike me as being a whole lot.
So we
Unfortunately,
have really great hardworking employees that do a lot of jobs. If we had more money and we had a bigger staff, but we have employees that are doing multiple jobs because they have to. So I'm always in favor, if we can, of giving our employees raises. We have some of our employees that have been here for quite some time and are still making not very good comparative. And that's always a concern with municipalities because everyone struggles, but people do leave if they can get a job where they make more money.
Well, we may not be able to match, what they can get going somewhere else, but man, I would sure like to, if there's a way to keep somebody that's already trained and rocking and rolling. I mean, I think if we're gonna have a budget item that we need to deal with, employees are the most important. I mean, I know we need equipment, stuff like that, but if we don't have somebody who knows how to run it, doesn't matter what equipment we have. If we don't have, decent equipment, then it's not gonna matter, and people in the office that know what they're doing is very valuable as far as I'm concerned. Cause I have to ask a lot of dumb questions and they can usually answer them. I'm working. Yeah.
Well, and I know Jared's worked with them, we had a couple that are working on their CDL license. We're really trying to get them trained. So we want to get them trained and then we want the job to be worth it, so they stay.
I agree.
So did we end up paying for that training for their CDL license? The city paid for that?
Yes, that was last
we
year.
gave them some.
Right, that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
And
Yeah.
as part of the budget, I would foresee that we would decrease the training a little bit this year. Because, they've done that training and then in my brain, and again, this is not my decision.
No.
You're decreasing your training amount for maybe you're training some newer guys, so you don't need as much. So maybe that helps make up that difference a little bit. I don't know. But that's
We got,
in my brain what happened.
we got a lot of training we need to do. I mean, the
Not-
CDL is a one-time fee.
Right, not per se that is gonna be costing, I mean, a lot of the training we need to do is in-house, so. I think we could, I agree with Cammy, we could reduce our expense budget for that, I mean, there's some. Training we can do that we send to classes that they charge, but I think we'd be safe to trim that a little bit. A lot of like the technical stuff, the sewer, we're not gonna go to a class and learn how to operate that system, they're gonna learn by doing it.
Because unfortunately, we have a rare system.
And that's one of those things where employee retention is key, cause it's literally gonna take you a few years before you're valuable at operating that, and if you don't like it one day and you look at another city and they're $3 an hour more,
You're going.
you're gonna.
And
Well-
we did lose 2 employees this last year, one to another city and one to private,
Well,
you know.
private is gonna be really hard to compete with
Yeah.
in today's economy.
You know, and I mean, benefits are wonderful and the URS is amazing, but at the end of the day, does that put bread on the table? You know? And that's the question a lot of these young kids are asking, not,
Well,
you know.
correct me if I'm wrong, actually, too, one of our new planning commission members is quite helpful with the sewer. Didn't you just do one of the guys on the planning commission?
Oh, Nate knows a lot about the gravity sewer especially, yeah,
Okay.
he's.
Not so much on the vacuum, but
Yeah, yeah.
We're one of only like a few in the nation, right, of the,
Not in the nation, there's quite a few, there
Oh,
aren't
is
very
there?
many around here, like Florida has a lot, the
okay.
coastal regions.
west of the Mississippi, yeah,
Okay.
we're a shining
We're
star.
special, okay.
And yeah,
So-
and that's not the only thing, I mean, if you look at the like hourly wage, some of our lower end guys, I mean, they really can go anywhere. I eat at McDonald's a lot, and there's a note in the window there to start for $20 an hour, and we're,
What's our lower end guys making?
Around 20, 22.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think we
they're
even
not-
have a couple that are.
And have we had them for a while? I'm not really sure how long we've had everybody, because I'm kind
Some,
of.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Would make sense to try and keep them, wouldn't it?
yeah, that's what I think.
I don't want to do all the talking, chime in.
So my question is, do we have an increased revenue stream somewhere that's gonna
Offset.
offset this amount?
Not necessarily.
That's,
So we're gonna have to rob Peter to pay Paul, basically.
how much
Yeah.
do we have in training this year?
Overall, but let's look. I can give you, well, so for fiscal year 26, you're meaning?
Or 25? Or
No, it'd be.
both, actually?
Yeah,
Yeah.
What did we
no,
have?
Okay,
What
so
did we
training,
spend? Just 4,000?
4,000 for that one, because you gotta remember, we got
Yeah,
all these
there's a few
departments.
oh, is there?
So I kind of have to add them up. There's 10,000 there. This training
14.
thing.
About 15.
Yeah, just under 15 so far.
And then, you know, we had also in sewers and training. Right there, 15 or 35,
35, so that's 18,000 basically.
which I guess if we trimmed all of that, that pretty much does that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we're looking at coming up with 66.
Mhm. But, you know, I mean, I'm not saying that's what we have to do. I'm just throwing the ideas out. Like I said, this is your budget, not mine. And that's why I want to know what's important to you guys. And maybe we talk about where our capital projects are and what projects we're gonna fund and then come back to this. Do you wanna go that route? So you can give me better direction on it.
There'd be a lot more money tied up in capital projects for sure, where we might be able to peel a little off unless I'm missing my guess.
Possibly, yeah.
Sorry.
is what it is.
Okay,
Well, I think our employees, just like you said, are really one of our most essential
I
assets.
think I'm one of the.
And we
support
really
things
do
we
get
had.
them when we start to train them and we think, oh, good, they're going to be here and I certainly understand if they can go to another city and make more money, but then we're starting over with someone and so it would, I think whatever we could do would be really.
So I'd be okay with option C, if we can come up with
The one I highlighted,
no, the next one
well, the
down.
next one.
If
if
we
we
can
can
come
come
up
up
with
with
the
that.
92,000.
Okay.
3.
You know, I can't read that option C clear to the left.
Oh, sorry, yeah, so let me make that wider, sorry. So
Yeah.
it'd be 3%, this was the, like, to me, the touch, what we would dream of. Is basically 3% for everybody, 6%,
Or just the one above,
oh, okay, the one above.
Yeah.
yeah.
So this would be 4% for anybody under $25 an hour and 2% for the rest of the employees. You know, like I said, administering it, that's your choice on how to administer it, and I definitely would encourage coming up with some type of a, system, or if you're gonna trust it, the department head to make that decision. That's something you have to decide. I just need to know what to put in the budget. That would, be worst case scenario. So. Yeah.
I personally, I think the cost of living, obviously, I think that's probably hit us more lately than with the inflation than it ever has before. I think everybody's understands that. And then the other part, I like a performance driven merit, like give them a goal or two to meet. We've done some of that this year and it's worked well. Don't just give it to them.
So hold off the 4% until you come up with a.
Yeah,
merit.
give them a couple of goals and once they meet it, then we go ahead and reward them for what they've done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about doing evaluations, but it's hard to say, here's your evaluation, but here's, thank you.
Yeah.
If there's nothing to go along with it, so it'd be good to have.
Okay, so this the orange one is what our goal then we're thinking is. If we could make it work. This is all if, okay,
Yes.
but this is giving me an idea what your goals are as a council, okay? Okay, so anything in orange, I'm knowing I'm doing tonight because I'm wearing orange, right? That's how I'm gonna remember. So, okay, so let's go to our stormwater, because that's just not gonna be a whole big, huge, I don't think. The stormwater one, we have this big project. And that number is wrong, sorry, I didn't update that one. We have this big project over in which subdivision?
On 5900
Yeah.
Bend, Reams Landing.
Where they have offered, the developers offered to help with some of it. We pushed it down the road last year. I think from what Jared says, we're gonna lose out on it if we
That-
don't.
That they're
keep up on it.
applying for their last phase currently, so. If we want to tie
That's Green's Landing.
this to that phase, this is the year we need to get it done.
And what like amounts does that
So
involve?
he's offered to do the labor, and I think he gave us or offered to give us, I'm not sure if we've collected it yet, 20,000, that ring a bell? In cash, and then we buy the parts and he lays it and does the labor, so.
So all we
buy
can
the
do is buy the
boxes-
parts.
Boxes, pipe, gravel, we pretty much, everything besides laying it and then equipment to lay it, he's gonna do, which is significant, I would. Off the cuff, think that might double or not quite double, if that was just a municipal project out for bid. So he's donating a significant amount to the project.
Will he provide the manpower to take care of the road, flagman and that, will he take care of that too? or-
We really haven't drilled that down.
Okay,
The exact, that's kind of what he committed to a previous council in a nutshell. We haven't drilled it down to all the nuts and bolts. but-
And I think we did
Well-
have some ARPA funds, didn't we?
So that, let me jump over to that stormwater and maybe this will help with that
Okay.
discussion, okay?
We don't
So-
need that, no.
I took a real rough stab at what, I thought maybe we could think about. And again, I'm not the elected person, so you guys tell me where you wanna go. But, It's just a second. I'm trying to get it so it will freeze this and I can't do it with the Zoom. Okay, there we go. Okay, so. Just a second. Okay, so if we increased our rates from $6 to $8, which is $2 more. We used the 165 that we have left of it's money that was originally given to us with ARPA, but we have to be careful how we say that because we've already spent it with how we got reimbursed. So it's kind of that rainy day we set aside. Okay. And then I figured about 32 with interest based on this year's interest. We kind of talked about me and Jared about what expenses Jared felt would be good there. And then this is with the other scenario, the one that I had in yellow on the wages. If we did that, we would be negative 623 on our funds. So we would have to use 623,000 of fund balance. Which we have that, we have 865 as of the end of fiscal 25. Then if I count for the income from 26, like we budgeted, the expenses like we budgeted for 26, then that would be our beginning fund balance for fiscal year, or ending fund balance for fiscal year 26. So we would have 81,000 kind of sitting there that we could draw. We wouldn't go negative, but we would only have $188,000 in that fund balance. That means this would be the only project we have from that fund until we get that built back up. And it's gonna take a while to build that back up. Again, that's now.
We know we have other needs. I think I prepared, I've been a year or two ago now, a list of like 13 storm drain related projects that could fail at any time. I guess what makes this maybe more urgent is the participation that we're gonna get from the private side.
Remind us what this project does for us. What does this accomplish?
So it's really regional. All of the water on 5900 and kind of that corner of town goes down 5900 and then turns west and goes out to the South Fork of the Weber River. And it's really undersized. When we, like in the drought right now, it's not a big deal, but when we get a regular winter and it's running off, sometimes that'll run over capacity for 2 or 3 weeks.
Where does it go currently?
What's that?
That's where it
Where
goes.
does it flow to right now?
Out to the South Fork of the Weber River.
Through
So it goes clear to the end of 5900, doesn't it?
That,
north.
the end of 59 and then it turns west and goes across the north boundary of that bird's property.
Right.
This is one of that deal where when you put a detention pond in, it would never dry up, and it was kind of an agreement that if he laid this pipe, then he wouldn't have to put the detention pond in because all the storm drain would be fed into this pipe.
Yeah.
So he was able to get another lot. out
So
of
this
that.
increases the capacity of what we already have.
Yes.
It does.
And it's not all this development's fault, but at the time, the council wasn't real comfortable with adding to that until it was taken care of. So I think it's probably his share and maybe even some for what he's doing, because it does serve way more than his property. Yeah, this would go clear to I call it the burnt church. I'm not sure what ward that is, but all of that drainage goes.
So it comes from the burnt church north. Okay, doesn't that drain ditch, because that cows at the end of that a year ago. Doesn't that go clear out into the old Belknap farm, that drain ditch?
So there's another key there. There's a water right off the end of that for Dean Murray that used to be who about that.
LeGrand's.
Yeah, so
So
there is a ditch that goes, that's his. Ours right now goes on an angle from 3800 across that private property over to that north boundary and goes west. We're gonna make it a straight. We've made an agreement with that fellow that we will move it to his boundary. And
So the new subdivision by the church, the burnt church. So their stormwater will go into this project as
It
well?
historically has. We've actually worked with them and we're gonna take that storm drain back to the slough because the slough's so deep right close to them.
Okay.
Rather than have to work out some kind of piping or maintenance agreement all the way to the end of 59.
It's
We
gonna go
worked it out, and it'll
Gotta
go
go
south to the slough.
And you only gotta take it about a quarter mile to go south.
Yeah.
The one thing that we were hoping to do as well, though, and this might be also helpful to think of, but we have this impact fee study that's going. We are getting word that it probably won't be done by the end of fiscal year 26. So we may have to shift it, but I'm not gonna budget for it because if anything, we're shifting from one year to the next and we've already budgeted it in the previous year. So we maybe think, okay, well, we're adding to fund balance. Previous year, we're gonna use fund balance, you know? Why, budget for it in 2 years, you know? If we're not spending it. So that being said, you know, if once we get our impact fee, maybe some of these projects that are increasing capacity, we can use that for. I almost wonder if we couldn't determine how much the increased capacity is on this project. And as soon as the impact fee is done, we pre-spend impact fees for that.
Reimburse that fund.
But I don't have that study yet to know, you know, so maybe we try and really push this impact fee to get done first. And if they can get it done by the end of the year, then we can pre-spend some impact fees. True, we still don't want to go negative, but we have another revenue source. Do you see my thought?
So the 120 we haven't spent this year, nor will we spend this year. You're thinking 27?
So I'm leaving it in this year's budget. But if they don't have the project done, then we would have to amend the budget and put it here. But my thought is, if you didn't spend it here, you're adding to fund balance for 120. So you take 120 away from fund balance the following year, if that makes sense. So you add it to the pot, now you're taking it the next year. So I didn't want to use this year's revenue when we already used last year's revenue for that project. You know, see what my thought was? Does that make sense? Hopefully.
Jared, and here's that list. I don't know if these have changed or they're still there.
They're still there. There's probably more.
As I say, I don't think they've changed.
One thing just
Yeah.
kind of to keep in mind that we've changed the last couple of years. So storm, I want you to recognize the difference between storm drain and storm water. So the storm drain is the utility out there, the pipes that actually drain whatever we're draining. The storm water is the program and the Clean Water Act and the administering that, so that we just got audited on with the state. So they're two separate things. And we've kind of combined them. Historically, we've funded storm drain from the general fund in the streets department. And now we've separated that out and fund both of them with storm water, which we can do, and it's probably a better view of what we're really doing. But that's kind of the difference between the last few years' budgets and this one.
And in the past, we had them all in the utility fund, which we broke out, so, but yes, you're exactly right. And there's nothing saying that we can't use some general fund money to fund stormwater projects if we need to. It's the vice versa that gets fun and interesting. But if you can use general fund things to fund enterprise funds, so we could, if we needed to, look at some of that. But, you know, and I kind of looked around, I didn't necessarily call a bunch of cities, but I know quite a few cities are around $8, if not more, for the fee. So really changing from 6 to 8 is not unheard of. We're not going to, you know, be the highest one in the town or in the, not town, but in the state by going to.
So if you bump it $2 a month, that's $24 a year, basically.
That's essentially what I was thinking. Yeah.
They give you $30,
Wow.
right?
I can still buy a hamburger at McDonald's.
We do need to get some because we have no idea when any of these are gonna fit. Because Jared gave us this list 2 years ago
Yeah.
and we haven't fixed any of them.
Yeah, a lot of, I think this storm drain's something that never really had its own funding source and its own backing financially, and so it got neglected, but a lot of the pipes we work on that fail are, you know, the neighbors will come out and, oh, they put that in 1950 or so, I mean, they're old.
That's being generous.
So, yeah,
The old-
and you think about it, it's just like a water system or a sewer system, all the piping, it just takes just as much piping for storm drain as it does for any other utility, so to not have a funding source doesn't make a lot of common sense.
How many attachments do we have to the, or how many residents are affected by the storm?
So.
Oh, 2902.
02, yeah.
Okay, 2,900.
And then I figured at $8 fee, that would be our monthly income, so.
There you
you're-
go. See, you already did that. Just go. Yeah,
Yeah,
hire her.
we still have some audit expenses. Have we accounted for any of them in here as far as the?
I think that was somewhat to do with some of these increases, engineering, we increased.
What did we ever decide on that?
I think our
The
biggest
mapping?
expense was the,
Cause we were kind of up in the air when he left that night
Yeah,
as to what direction we were
and
gonna.
I know Larry had, Councilmember Rappaletto had talked about helping, but I think it ended up being a lot bigger of a project.
oh,
than
he's
one-
been helping,
Oh, he
yeah,
has.
yeah.
He's rolling. We just done a lot.
We got him the golf cart ready and the GPS unit, and he's done quite a bit.
Really?
Okay.
Yes.
Like I would even volunteer some hours if you needed somebody else to help.
Yeah, I
mean,
think we're
that's-
gonna get
that's
the
our
data
strategy.
collected.
Well,
That's what we're doing.
we were looking at like $70,000 to $80,000 to have JUB do it.
A
Mhm.
lot.
And they'll still compile it, they just won't have an employee up here shooting all of the points. We're
Yeah,
gonna,
Larry's done the math on it and he basically has 64 miles of drive because you gotta do both sides of the road. Yada, yada. But I will tell you that is probably to our advantage that he got involved because JUB was actually, their guy was gonna monitor irrigation ditches and stuff like that, because he didn't know what was irrigation ditches and what were stormwater ditches. He was telling Larry the one day, because they went around and looked at some of his stuff, and the guy's like, well, you gotta do this one. Larry's like, no, that's an irrigation ditch. Like, you know, kind of like maybe on yours down here on 5900 on that side of the road. You know, that's not a ditch that we needed done, but they were gonna do it and then bill us back for it. So even just having Larry ride around with him saved us some hassles down the road because they frankly didn't know what was what.
Good to know.
So. I kind of think
You might take.
then we're at the,
Pretty simple. It's pretty simple. Yeah.
so we're kind of saying yes on the 880. We want a budget for that. That's a priority to the council.
Is that number one priority?
And
on your
maybe-
list?
like I said, the biggest thing there is if we pass on that, I think we're gonna probably lose our commitment, or at least
Yeah.
it's gonna be harder to get it. And then that price doubles in the future roughly, not quite, but.
And do you think you could maybe push JUB to get this one done? And like I said, we could pre-spend impact fees. Give us another.
I can ask him, I have no idea. on
It's
that.
not designed yet.
Oh, it's designed, but she's
Yeah.
talking about the impact fee
The
study.
impact fee study. Yeah.
So JUB will have
Give
to
another
do
source
that
of
part
revenue.
and then they'll send it to Cody for the financial, and I don't know how long that takes. I can talk to Taylor and see what timeline we're looking at.
Because, you know, if we could get charging that fee for some of these projects out there that are getting developed. We can use it for their.
I do have a curiosity question, Odell. You mentioned that he got an extra lot because he didn't have to put in the retention basin.
Yeah.
Okay, are we getting any, how much bang for our buck are we getting back out of that?
Well, that's where he's gonna lay all the pipe.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's gonna
So,
take care of it.
yeah.
And are you good with that? Cause you've been involved.
Yeah,
in a lot more than
I
that.
think we felt real good about it.
Okay,
We
That's
honestly
what we
couldn't
decided to do
get the detention basin to work there.
Yeah,
And we're like, and then Tracy kind of came out, Tracy Allen came up with the idea, why don't we have you improve some downstream to handle it that you don't need detention, and he's like, yeah, that'll work, so.
Yeah, cause
jumped on
I
that.
have not been involved in it,
Yeah.
so this is, I'm gonna go
And
with
it's good to know that the reason it wouldn't work, because it was never dry. I
it.
mean,
Yeah,
by the time we dug deep enough for all the homes to drain into that,
it was full of water already.
it was already had the water.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, that's why I just have to yield to you, because you're involved in it.
The other component there, not to get off on a tangent, so there's land drain in there to drain those homes. And it has to have this system in to find the outfall for it. And so before we have a wet year, it would be good to get that done. Or them homes in there might have some risk.
And then we are responsible, right?
Even for
I know.
phase one, the land drain goes in
Yeah,
the same
and he's
place.
applied for phase 2. We're reviewing phase 2 right now, so.
So,
Yeah, it's kind of.
Yeah, well, I think it's
okay.
moved clear off for quite a few years.
You guys are more versed on this than I am.
So what do you think about going from the $6 to the $8 then? How do you?
It's necessary.
Yeah, I can't see how
There's no other.
we could
reason.
squat about that, and that doesn't make any,
It is what it is, yeah.
And we know it's not like a Band-Aid that we can pull some money out of savings and then we're done. We know we've got projects lined up that need funding.
Yeah, and we're already pulling as much as I would dare even let you pull out of savings, you know? Cause you're only sitting 888 after that, so roughly 200 after we do this, not a whole lot of money.
No,
Even though
take much
we
to
like
add
to
up.
think it is, but it's not when you're talking
oh, no.
business or cities. So,
So,
yeah, so really, if we could get that additional revenue source, that would, before we approve this, anything else that, any of it would help.
Okay.
That revenue source
we're-
for that impact. Okay, so that's that one then. I'm gonna just jump to garbage real quick, and that's not one of your printouts because it doesn't really have any capital plans. But I'll just kind of give you a lowdown what I know so far with garbage, and then we'll jump into the big bag one is the sewer, of course. So, right now, our garbage fee for a regular can is $13.50. For a second can, it's $9. For a recycling can, it's $7.50. We are told that we're gonna have a 5% increase in these services, our garbage contract fee, our recycling fee, and our tipping fee. And then.
5% in each one? So, okay.
Yeah, so about
And
15%.
we're not sure yet on tipping, but we thought we better build it in. Because we don't know, it'll all depend on what happens with the waste.
With
Yeah, and that might.
Weaver
be
County, if they
conservative.
shut it down.
Yeah, so 5% might be conservative, but a budget is not a written document that we have written in stone. We have to manipulate it throughout the year if something drastic like that happened and it went up, or if it went down. I'm not opposed to going down on things by all means. So with that, I kind of ran some numbers, and right now, what I'm looking at is possibly increasing, this year, this is what I'm thinking about. And then this is the amount of the increase and the percentage wise. So I was thinking for our first can, we'd go to 625, second can, or 1625. Second can would be 1175. Recycling would go to 1050. So that gives your regular garbages a $2.75 increase and your recycling a $3 increase.
So if it's only 15%, why are we doing 20, 30, and 40?
Well, so also we have. That's increased. Oh, another thing. Yeah, we'll get to that in just a second. Let me forget to talk about the paper
Yeah.
thing. A little bit of wages. So. This formula is just 5% increase from there. 5% increase there, 5% there. And it does end up closer to those percentages
Did you want to talk about the paperless or not right now?
in just 1 second. That was the thing I thought of. And I was
That's
like,
what I
oh,
was thinking.
got to that. So. I'm not sure why it equates that, but this is the number of cans we build. For each one. Of the services. And that's the percentage of the total. But that's what I've,
So is the second one 2,900 is who has 2 cans? If
2
it-
or more cans,
Okay, there's more there than regular.
yeah,
So
cause
that
some
makes
people have
sense.
3, some
I-
people have 4, 5.
So
people have
the
5.
people that have 2 aren't in the regular category. That's
No, they're in
the
the
people
regular
that
too,
have-
these are the number of cans, so the number of first cans is 1406. The number of second cans, no,
How do we have more second
That's
cans?
better.
than
That
first
has to be
cans?
You're right.
part of
But
it.
did
That'd
you
be
say
part of the
second, third, fourth and fifth? So
That's
it could
total
be-
cans.
mm-hmm,
Yeah. that
Yeah.
seems
So
a
the
bit-
2,900 must not be in regular. They must just be who has 2 or more.
yeah, I
That's-
think you're right,
that's
I
got
think
the
that's where
total
my problem
counts.
is. I think you're 100%
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah, that does,
So second would be like 1,506.
Yeah, because. Well, the first cans would be
That'd be more than that.
more than that, you'd
yeah.
have 2,900 more.
I think those numbers are just flip flopped. Yeah,
that-
29 on the first one and 1,400 on the
the
second.
second one would make a lot more sense.
Look at this. It's gonna be about the same, yeah, 29. I was gonna say, it's gonna be about the same as the stormwater. So yeah, I think you're exactly right. Okay, let's fix that real quick. Good catch, Ryan.
It's
See,
good.
don't hire me.
15 doesn't come to 20, 31 or 40.
Which then if we do that. We're over, yeah,
I'm impressed you can do this on the fly.
it's amazing. Like watching a movie.
I have a hard time balancing my checkbook and doing a whole city budget here.
I hate it when you do odd numbers other than like, 1550. Give them $2.
And that's 15%.
Uh-huh.
That's $2.
Yeah, the 15% is the $2. And then this one would be. Going down more like. Yeah, I have to do. 5, and that gives you, yeah. That makes me feel lots better, yeah. So with that, trying to hit there, you could probably even do this additional to 1050. Yeah, that's better. So the first can would be $2 more, additional can would be 150, or recycling would be 125 more.
So just for kicks and giggles, run the first can $15
Okay,
and the second can 11.
okay, gladly. Or deficit 4,000.
Deficit of 4.
4,000. So we could even do.
So do the second can 11.
25,
1150. Yeah, 25.
we're deficit $200, which I don't have heartburn with at all. You deficit, 200. We're just trying, the idea of the garbage fund is to come as close to 0 as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
You know,
Just needs to cover itself.
yeah, exactly. So, and we do have a little bit of a fund balance there. But it's not a ton, but we're okay, by not having a large fund balance there. So. That would give us a little bit better. The additional can though, that would still be a 225 increase. Would we rather see more like a 1525 and then an 11 there?
I
And
would
just
think
have
you'd charge
4,000.
people that need a second, third, fourth, fifth can more because they're using.
Creating
That's
more
a-
garbage.
It's a usage fee, right?
Yeah, but the idea is that the garbage truck it costs X amount for the garbage truck to be there.
So if
And
people
adding
have
one more
one,
can is not that much more work.
Like if, I don't know.
I agree, but that's how
I see
they
what
bill
I'm saying.
us.
Like if you have 10 people living in your house, then you should pay for it.
Mhm,
Versus the people, have 2 people living in their house that are a little bit more frugal.
mhm.
Yeah, it wouldn't be
Yeah.
crazy if they were the same price, honestly, so yeah.
Well, that's what I was thinking too, is
Yeah.
why aren't they just the same price? $15 for each can. I don't know, that's just the way I think.
Well, if we kept them the same price, if we upped the second can to be the same price as the first can, you'd have to up it a little bit more. So like 14 and 14 maybe. Yeah, like 14 and 14
What's that do for us?
You get the same.
gives
result.
us 11,000 positive. Or if you even,
They charge us about half for additional cans of what the
Mhm.
first is, and I think it is because they say they're just stopping one time.
Yeah, they don't have to drive, they're just there to pull up.
So they
Yeah.
do charge us
so
that.
this is our
Last
bill.
second.
It-
For,
it's about half for the
Yeah.
second can is what the first one.
here's our bill for February. This is how much was recycling, this is how much was the first can, and here was the rest of the cans. According to the bill.
How many people do we have recycling? Never did see them.
You have 1585.
Surprised.
Had a lot canceled recently too, especially after last budget, a lot of people canceled, so I'm sure it'll go down again.
Yeah.
So go back to 15. The first, and whatever it was, 11 something. 11:25, I think.
That gave us a negative.
Yeah, you're gonna have people cancel recycling. That's the first thing that goes, and then the second can goes. And then,
I've already discussed canceling this third can.
Okay. yeah,
Good for
third
you.
can goes first, and then the second can.
What
Some
passed
to
the
the
house
fifth can.
down here the other day, they had 5 cans, I bought
yeah.
in their driveway. It's like, what?
Yeah,
They must have a business.
I
or
know who it
something.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
They have
Nobody can
stores.
generate, you can't buy that many pizzas, okay?
Well,
When you get up there, 3 cans, I mean, I have, my house, I have a dumpster, and it's not any more than 3 cans, so.
Right.
I could probably fit 10 cans in there.
Oh, no doubt.
It's a small dumpster.
I'm just missing Dave and Rayanne next door.
You ought to get neighbors and share one, that would.
Well, Dave and Rayanne, Dave's Custom Hauling was next door for many years. I miss them in many ways.
Well, That's for certain, we're getting a 15% increase, but you know.
For
certain.
sure that one and for sure that one.
We don't know about. the two.
This one
We don't know
is
on
our best
tipping.
guess.
Tipping may go down, you know, we were paying 50 and they said about 49, but then that didn't.
Has it ever actually gone down?
No. Never.
That's kind of my point. Things just don't go down, I mean.
No, and if it
Gas
is,
went up again,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, gas.
let's
going up, they're
amend the
gonna
budget
raise it.
and let's give up.
Yeah, they'll give us a fuel surcharge.
Yeah, but if by some miracle it went down, let's just
Hmm.
amend and change, but it's not, I don't think it's happening.
Okay.
I'm not holding my.
Let's
breath.
be realistic.
Is everybody okay with that?
Put it in the soybeans and.
Sounds good to me, you okay?
Okay, check it off. Let's
Okay.
go on to the next.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so one thing about that, we talked about having people go to
yes.
paperless bills. Because we pay $20,000 a year by the time we buy the bills and we mail them. So we thought if people would want to opt in and do paperless, then, you know, if they want to have still a paper bill, they would pay $1 admin fee for the paper bill, which a lot of cities do, which would cover that, but everybody wouldn't have to if they would.
You wouldn't make it mandatory, just make it available, basically.
Well, you make,
So
I think
if-
the idea
if
was
you-
make it paperless, but you can opt in, but it's gonna cost you $1 if you want it mailed to you.
Yeah, you're gonna charge
Per-
$1 per month to mail it to you.
So there's some cities, and I'll just throw this out there, that have gone to billing every other month as well. Instead of doing it every other,
No.
every month.
It's not the worst idea ever.
It's not.
Well, we got thinking about it because we received new bills and so we were going through them and they aren't the same size and it's just been a disaster. So now they've had to, I guess they came and took the wrong, because they weren't cut. I mean, you were really aware of this,
Yep.
Ryan, because then when they printed them, they didn't line up. So I said, goodness. And then when we were adding up how much, we thought for $20,000 a year, would we want to spend that money somewhere else than having that disaster with the.
Yeah, and I mean, by doing that, we're definitely not having to increase their fees as much, which me, I'd rather not have a paper and get less bill.
I think you'd also have that initial cost to mail out a mailer to everybody to let them know,
If you want to go and get it.
so that's what we're doing. Maybe,
Or just put it on the current bill.
that's
Instead
true.
of an extra mailer, just put a little note on there that says this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's your included newsletter on the
Yeah.
utility bill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So,
That sounds good to me.
okay. We'll go that route then. Sounds like that's
So-
something.
Where did we end up? Are we in the positive or were we a little in the hole?
We are 200 in the, which is the net. We can live with that.
So how long are you gonna give people to opt
Now,
in or out?
Well, how many bills did they take back? We bought bills for the
Boxes,
year.
13 boxes.
And so we thought if they give us a credit for the bills, which I don't know that they're going to, but if they'll give us a credit, then when we run out of those bills, then we don't keep ordering a whole year's worth.
so the ones you got speculatory, how long will they last?
We bought a year's worth, but probably a half, maybe. How much do you think we're wrong that we had to send back?
Probably half.
They about gotta give you credit for them, don't they, if they messed them up?
They said they'll
Yeah.
fix the issue, either they'll send us new to get us through the year, or they'll get us a credit, which,
They don't have a lot of options there if they found
Well,
out.
to say,
yeah, either way.
Yeah.
So,
But it
Well,
took
that-
quite a bit of time to do them.
I'm sure there's quite a few people that'll opt in. I mean, my dad don't even doesn't text and doesn't have an email,
I was
so.
gonna say. Well, and I hate to say punish. What's the better word for punish?
Excludes.
The older generation, like your dad, because they don't have a computer or a phone.
Hello,
or
hello,
This guy right here,
hello.
but doesn't do paperless.
And I do paperless though. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
Well, yeah, but you're techie, I'm not.
I mean, I guess they're not getting punished, they're just paying for what they're receiving.
And yeah,
They're receiving
yeah,
a bill
and-
and a stamp and whatever's involved there and.
So would you rather pay $1 more for your garbage can? Or would you rather pay $1 for your paper?
I would say put it in the garbage can, then it's kind of a hidden fee,
Oh, yeah.
and then go to not as often billing. Or do the paperless too.
That isn't a bad idea on every other month.
I know we had talked about it when you first got in a couple
That
of
could
years
be-
ago.
We can do both. can't we?
50%.
when they pay every other month and they have higher bills, then will we have more
Yeah, you'd have to be
delinquent?
more lenient.
Because
hard
then
to
instead of
select.
getting a $75 bill, they're going to get $150 bill and then they'll say, we don't have the money to pay.
These
And then-
people
I
can't.
think they'd still,
1 month out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they could still have the notifications that their bill, like Monica would still upload the bills and it would email them saying your bill's here, but we would only pay for them every other. month.
Every other.
So they'd still get notified,
Yeah, I think
Regardless.
that'd be the best option.
but
So do I mess you guys up when I pay mine in advance all the time?
no.
Okay, because I hate writing a check every month, so I just shoot over $200 or $300 at a time and. Then
There's
when
a
it
lot
runs
of
out, then when I
yeah.
shoot over some more.
People.
For guys like you, it's dumb to get a paper bill every month, cause you do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
And we have, you know, the auditors have gotten used to it now that we sometimes have a credit balance. Accounts receivable. It just is what it is. We're
I got a
special.
better idea. Let's do what all the other cities do,
which is,
combine the water, the irrigation and the city bill all into one bill. And the garbage and the sewer.
Well, we could just add power into that too.
And the power and the gas.
Yes.
But I've already asked,
Streamland.
I've already asked.
Assuming
and they-
that. But
Flat
yeah,
out
these-
opposed to it. No, I'm
I
just saying,
wish.
every other city is all included in one, bill,
I wish,
Seriously.
But yeah,
but
no,
not here.
Not
It'll never happen with those two.
yeah. We can dream. So,
I've already asked.
That's a good thing.
I've already-
good idea, Ryan. We love it.
Okay.
We'll put you in charge of spearheading that one, okay?
That says bridge, not crossed.
Okay, so we're all good with that then, and do we want to move ahead or to have further discussion with the paper bill, maybe? Maybe just have further discussion and decide.
I'll do the.
Officially what to do.
For them, concerned.
Yeah, can move on and then see, we can see what we get with the bills too, if we get a credit, then that'd be a good time to change.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
just plan on down the road, yeah, one other way.
okay, now for this one. Morgan's big side. I love it. Okay, so this is what we had budgeted this past year. The ones that are highlighted, I don't know if you can see the highlighted on your
Yeah.
printouts. But those are the ones Jared says are done. And then, of course, we've got fiscal year 27. And we've got to do the biofilters, it sounds like. This $1 million force main along West Haven. Does everybody know what that is? If not, I'll have Jared explain.
I know what it is.
Okay. everybody?
5,100.
Yeah, so historically, when we ran the sewer in the east part of town and even Lakeview, the force main comes up and then we dump into West Haven's trunk line, and West Haven transports the sewage over to where it goes into Central Weaver, and we, at the time, years ago, agreed on a wheeling fee and maximum capacity. And over the years, we got into that capacity. I know our previous engineer, Tracy, asked West Haven's previous engineer, Steve, several times, do we need to upgrade this? And he said, no, there's plenty of capacity, and so on and so forth. Anyway, we're over capacity, and now they are leaning towards us getting out of their line and having our own. So some of the new projects we're considering in East Hope are really before we add those connections to that sewer force main, we should have at least a plan. Or I don't think they're gonna give us permission to keep adding connections to that. So we've designed to go put our own force main in from where we dump into West Haven's over to 4,000, where we have an existing force main for the vacuum sewer. Now that force main is planned for future capacity of the vacuum, but it's way out there, 20, 30 years at build out in those. The force mains operate better if they have more flow, reduces our H2S gases and different problems with sludge buildup. So our plan now is to go over, connect at 4,000 and utilize that. And then that'll, in that 20, 30 year period before build out, knowing we'll have to build more force main, an additional one from 4,000 to Rawson Ranch, where we dump in to Central Rivers.
So what are we paying a year now to West Haven?
About 36,000.
So
It's always been a capacity issue, not that something was wearing out. See, at first I thought there was a problem with the pipe.
They've had some problems where they've done some lining and whatnot, but I kept, it's not full at all. I mean, I just think they kind of want their system for them and
Yeah.
want us to do our own thing, but.
Well, they said our sewage is causing problems, particularly with their manholes, which they're having to line. And that's quite an expense, and we're not paying, we don't help cover any of those expenses. We originally signed on for 300 homes and went up to 600. Now we're over 900 homes.
I'm not trying to be facetious, but is our sewage more caustic than their sewage?
Well, ours sits.
Okay. I'm just kind of laughing at that.
I don't know.
Sewage to me is.
Well, I've heard the argument that it's our vacuum system, but it doesn't even go through that line, so it's,
Yeah,
I don't think myself that I think it's just a sewer problem, not our problem,
Okay.
but it's their line, I guess. They
No, it's
can
their line,
do
it
what
just
they
makes
want
me
to
look,
do,
it's
so.
like, yeah, sewage is caustic.
So how? I know this is a ways out, but how's the freeway project gonna affect all these lines? I mean, you know what I mean? You got
Yeah,
the intersection on 4,000, you got a new pipe in the ground. And then they come in and say, oh, well, we're gonna dig all this up anyway and put a freeway in here, or just cover it all up. And how do you get to it after that? you
Yeah,
know?
I think that they'll
And then-
reroute them. We don't know exactly. They're not to that level of planning yet.
Right,
We're just still at the,
Local level.
yeah, here's where we think the road will be, but that is gonna be a challenge. But I think UDOT will take care of that if they're impacted.
if we've already done.
That's why I said that is, so how much skin in the game does UDOT give us? Where they're gonna impact it in the future anyway.
And I don't know if they will or not. They may be on that east side and we might be still in
Anybody
front
we
of
can
it
ask?
right there.
They don't have the environmental study done yet, so they
Oh.
don't know. By October, they will. So then we'll know where it's going to go. But I was just looking at numbers. Back in March of 2024, we had 976 homes in there, so I'm assuming we're over 1,000 homes now.
And we were only supposed to be how many to start with? 300,
300, but then they did do an agreement for 600, but they never agreed to
1,000.
1,000. No.
I don't blame them. So yeah, Brian has raised a valid question here to me. And how, will they be patient enough with us to buy us a little time to see a,
The environmental
yes,
study.
yeah,
is
they
gonna
would
impact us.
contribute or something into this rather than have to tear ours up and put
But
another.
the point is that if we tear ours up, we don't pay. UDOT pays.
But
Yeah.
if we put new in and they tear ours
Yeah,
up.
just if we could
Yeah.
Just
if
seems
we're
like.
both
buy a little
paying,
time, yeah. You know, it's like when we were going to high school, the 4,800, they'd tear it up and repave it, and then 2 years later, they'd tear it up and repave it, and it's like, it makes me crazy.
We're doing it again, by the way.
Well, thank you. You just made my day. No, I just, that, you know,
We'll know in October, there's not funding to fund it clear to 4,000.
so if we take Rob Vanderwood a box of donuts or something, would they be a little patient with us and?
They're not real happy, I can tell you right now, and along 51, especially you get over there. What would the address be, about halfway through the blocks? It's pretty bad. They get complaints all the time for the smell from the manholes, and they're replacing, I can't remember now how many, Jared might know.
Will it not smell when we put the new one in?
Well, that'll be theirs, and it's not us, and it'll be.
I know, but I'm just like, we're putting a new line down, well, there's still.
Take out 1,000, that would make a difference.
We won't have any manholes in our force main and
No.
we'll see it.
Okay.
Their smell smells different than ours.
That's what. We're
It's
putting a line down.
it's a valid question to ask. I just think maybe the timing of SR 177, I mean, we could be looking at a few years of patience. Do we wanna, I don't know if they'd let us add any capacity in those few years, so any projects we're thinking of. Really on that whole system, maybe on hold. I'm not saying they are, these are considerations, so.
I'm not above calling Mayor Vanderwood and just having a chat with him, or maybe you already have.
I know we can't do any commercial development along 5,500 and dump into here.
Okay, they're just not gonna go that way. Which is the interesting thing about that is commercial isn't gonna generate really any sewage. Houses generate tons more sewage than commercial is going to. I just don't know.
Just then, can we, I guess that you're still considering different funding options for some other sewer infrastructure in that area. This
Yeah.
probably could be added to that if you ended up doing one of those
Yeah,
to that project and make the lift station and the force main one project.
Which would help a lot. Maybe, do you care if I jump over to the?
Jump.
How high? No.
I wanna see it.
Real quick on the air conditioning, if you don't mind.
Oh,
on the
yeah.
sewer.
That one,
So the air conditioning, we're meeting next Wednesday with the HVAC engineer. That I kind of explained to you when we say that at face value, people think it's for employees to be comfortable and it's not. We're a little bit more dire on that now. The North Station, the AC unit that we do have that's supposedly a third of what we need went out. So we've
So
got
we
it
need to
band-aided
increase
and
that.
repaired. But the day it went out, 2 days ago, our room temperature in there was 93 degrees with just the ambient outside being 70. As the temperature goes up, that will cause equipment failure and our sewer station will shut itself down. So it's pretty urgent on that.
So is that the right number still, Jared?
I have no idea. We're meeting with Heath Wednesday.
Okay.
We'll get that nailed down as quick as we can, but
Is that just for, that's gotta be for multiple places?
there's 3 of them.
Okay, that's just a lot of money for,
Oh, it might exceed that.
just for air conditioning.
I mean, we need it's huge, like. They do it in tons of air conditioning and.
It's not like you're.
Well, no, it's not like my house, I understand that, but
Well, the problem we kind of have, we got the ambient that everybody has at your house, but then we've got equipment in there generating heat. Well, we added our other vacuum pump. Now we've got 25% more heat being
yeah,
created.
it's like me running my tractor inside the garage and then you'd have to cool the garage, yeah, I understand that, it's
So
just,
we've,
that's a lot.
yeah, we'll know more after Wednesday or so, but that's just something that's fairly urgent.
Okay,
Okay,
and that,
so-
you fairly comfortable with that figure being usable or no?
No.
Don't even know yet. It's a ballpark.
Yeah, just a good guess, huh?
So what I've got right now, and please think about things and, we're definitely gonna have to have another meeting, of course. But think about if, Jared has gone through and he said, this is kind of how we're gonna have to fix the sewer system because we've let it go so long, that it's starting to be a problem. So with this 5-year plan that we've kind of put together and trying to stay on top of things, if I take and look at the sewer department, so first off, the Central Weaver Sewer District, they are saying probably a 6% increase is what we keep hearing. Whatever they charge, we turn around and charge our residents and then push it right back out to them. So the charge there matches the fee there that we have to pay. So it's in, out. We're not making money off of that. So the part that I look at is this is the one that is, helping us to make the repairs and do the things that we need to with our sewer system. So with that being said, this is what I'm anticipating the sewer charge. We do have some impact fee. I'm hoping that will go up once we get that impact fee study done, but again, we're waiting on that. So once the impact fee study is done, we might have some more revenue there. But with everything and plugging in the numbers, this year, I would anticipate that will be a negative 1.7. If we spend everything that we need to. Now, my next question is, okay, what cash is going out? Well, we have to budget because it's an enterprise fund for that depreciation number. So if I take that out, we're looking at a 102 or 1.2 cash flow down. So I came over here and I did this last year and there it is. I did it again this year. So I said, okay, at the end of 26, I would anticipate that our fund balance is going to be 2.8. And if I project that out based upon our expenses for this year, we would use it down to 1.4. Then in 28, if we do what's planned, we would be 1.5. And that's, I also account for a 5% expense increase, which is probably low, honestly, but that's what I account for. And I go down and run the whole scenario. And then I came back up and said, okay, if I did a set amount of increase every year. For our bills, where would we be? So this year, we're at $70.80 or 0.8 for our sewer fee. If we did a 6% increase for Hoopers, or 6.25% for Hoopers portion, it would cause that portion of the bill to go up to $51.94. Which I'm like, that's pretty close to what they're charging. If we did that for the next 5 years, we would still be deficit 500,000. We'd still be using 500,000 fund balance. We'd be about 2 million fund balance at the end of that. So,
What are you comfortable
With
with?
an $88 bill, right?
Yeah.
yeah, and at the end, you're looking at an $88 bill. Yeah, we've got a system that has a problem. And I've accounted for, the loan payments and everything. But I don't see how we fix the system and get the repairs that we need done without at least a 6% increase every year, 6.25.
I don't wanna mislead you that all those repairs are all we're gonna need in that time frame. Everything's getting older and more hours on it.
Yeah.
and
You're
I-
being relatively conservative.
We need
Yeah.
to budget every year for that, because that was part of the problem before. We never really budgeted ahead. So we need to say, okay, if we're gonna need a pump, we need to be budgeting that every year, so when it comes time for the pump, we have the money. But there's
That's
a couple
kind of
of
that 5 year.
options, if we do end up with possibly doing a CRA, we could include that force main in it. We have written, this grant, but that really can't pay for maintenance. Even our impact fees only pay for new builds. That's not,
It can pay for a force main though, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
it could pay for. the
which if
force
we
main.
get that study done, then
Yeah.
maybe that would be some source of revenue.
Mhm.
But even at that, I think, a 6.25% increase is what we're gonna have to do this year to even stay on track. And then next year, we maybe will know more about the, different other funding options, but right now, I think that's where we're sitting.
Does that include the $1 million for the
Mhm.
5,100? So if we,
So if you did get some, then we would
We would
be
have a little more.
positive
leeway.
500 at the end of 5 years. As
Well, maybe
opposed to
we-
negative.
have to increase it as much the next 2, 3, 4, 5.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
and one thing that I think general public would rather have is a small increase
Please.
every year than a massive one every 4 years. I just,
Exactly, and that was our thought with doing this, is to see what, at the end of 5 years, could we do just a steady increase, small increases instead of a.
yeah, and we can always cut it back if
Yeah.
we don't need it.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
always say, yeah,
If we have a
Merry
surplus,
Christmas. Yeah.
sweet, we'll reduce rates, I don't care, but that's probably not
And
happening.
the
So,
District Finance Committee they met today, actually, so we'll know at our next meeting what their exact percentage is going up.
Who met?
The sewer,
Oh, the sewer district.
yeah.
they
Central
told us
Weaver.
last year to plan about 6%.
Yeah.
So you'll know exactly after.
Yeah.
Shortly.
We'll know exactly what's going.
But I mean, none of that, we don't touch that,
No, I know, that's
Yeah.
just a pass through. We get yelled at, but it's nothing we can do about
yep, nothing we can do about that, and unfortunately, we have a system that is expensive to maintain, and
it.
it is what it is.
You have a
And
time,
our loan on it is not anywhere near being paid off, so.
6.65, is what we have.
It's not a real debate for this budgeting, but we could look at, I think we wanna stop the bleeding on the vacuum. We could look at some areas of that we could possibly serve with future lift stations instead of expanding the vacuum. I think the infill where we've already got it and it's just the infill, we're kind of stuck with it, but we could see about reducing those areas on the outskirts of them and putting them in a more maintainable type system.
So are you guys kind of on board with my thought that we're gonna have to look at about a 6,
I'm-
6.25?
I mean, the million bucks is the elephant in the room, I think. I mean, we don't know if we're gonna get a grant to help pay for that, or if we need to raise it, all this amount now to pay for that now. You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of an unknown how that's gonna be funded right now.
Yeah, so I think right now we kind of almost have to fund for the worst, but then next year, maybe we're only looking at a 3% increase. Fantastic, then let's do that, you know,
So, yeah, I would
but
think that
don't
would
quote me
be,
on it.
yeah, if we get some money back from another source that we can reduce it, hallelujah.
So that pays for a trunk line, how far down 5100? Or $1 million?
So it'd just be from 4,000 back to Courtney, I call it Courtney's
Courtney's
house, I don't know
Johnson.
what that.
Where the hump
address
is over
Right
there
on the
on
top of the
51st.
little hump,
So it's only a little over half a mile, probably.
probably a quarter mile.
Yeah.
Oh, is that all?
And that's, like I say, that's using capacity and something we know we already need. But
Yes,
it's
we are.
way out, so we will long-term have to plan
So,
another force main.
so West Haven's line goes from 4,000, doesn't it go all the way to 4825 south?
It goes all the way to Rawson Ranch.
No, going south.
Oh,
Yeah.
it go right there, it kind of curves, I think, and goes east along there's like a bluff there.
It follows the bluff.
I think it stays up on
So
that.
where do their houses that is still along 5100 on that side? There's like, I don't know, 8.
Like, where does our line start and hook into West Haven's coming from the south on 5100 west?
Coming from the south, where does it start?
Where does it hook into West Haven's?
Oh, right,
Where's
right
West-
at Courtney's.
Right at the
house.
hump.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if we can pull up a map. I could-
4,400 south-ish.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I had no idea.
Where does West Haven's sewage go for the houses that are in West Haven on that side of the road? Just curiosity.
Same place. It goes into their gravity line and goes out to Rawson Ranch, and where their
Okay.
line actually just turns into Central Weavers.
Okay.
And then that's where we tie in our other force mains, is out there.
I don't know.
So they want us to run one side by side to theirs from 4,400 to 4,000,
Yeah.
which is that money. Interesting.
And they're strongly encouraging we do that, basically. Like
They're telling us to,
Yeah,
demanding
it
that we do
was-
that.
telling us to get out.
well, I think when they originally, and it was probably Lakeview subdivision maybe was one of the first one, anyway, it never was intended, I don't think. For us to have as many, well, it wasn't.
Oh, I'm
You go
sure.
back and look at the agreements and it never was.
It kind of depends who you ask. Steve Anderson's who designed it, and he doesn't work there anymore. And he told Malcolm and I the other day, he planned on 1,000 feet of hooper going into it all the time, but it's their line and they don't want us in there, so.
It's basically at 4,300 south is where it ties in.
So we would save the 36,000 a year.
36,000. Yeah, that's what we said, if we would have planned ahead and charged those, you know. 900 homes, if we would have been charging them.
If we had
impact
that fee
fee
back then.
Of
yeah.
1,000, we would have had the money, but we
But
didn't.
you gotta have a study to charge a fee.
Yeah,
Mm.
and
The
Yeah,
state
okay.
auditor,
I know.
I'm betting JUB is getting hit really hard with impact fees right now because the state auditor has got thumb down on those.
Crazy.
You gotta have one,
You don't have any control, this is the other part.
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah,
so. So just a little FYI, so this is our rates last year, what we increased, and then this is what we increased this year. So, you know, with the sewer, we're looking, you know, a little bit higher increase, but not too terribly much more. And then with your garbage, we went up $2, $1.52. So now we've kind of done those increases. So if you had one of each garbage can, last year you went up $10.58. This year you'd go up $11.33. Oh, you know, go to the grocery store, you've spent
Well,
that,
Inflation has gone up more than
Yeah.
what we're bumping this, so it's like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
really
I don't
can't
think-
squawk if this stuff goes up, because everything has gone up.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know,
It never
people with fixed
stops.
incomes, it is
well,
hard.
that's just it. When does it stop?
Yeah, when does it
it
stop?
Never does.
and is there
Everybody will be
justification?
broke,
for
so,
that?
yeah.
If they say it's that much, well, why?
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
just standard now? Everything's a CPI of 3%. Well, is it really?
Yeah.
Because gas has gone up, but it had gone down, so we're still not as high as we were, but then they still, so.
Fuel's always been that way, but now everything's that way. It
It
don't
is,
matter
totally,
what you
it is.
So I think that's, where we're at with those and those fees. So it is 6:45. Do we want to look at capital projects for the general fund and just kind of quickly scan
Brief.
them? Real brief?
Sure.
Okay.
Can we do that
Yep, we can do that.
in 10 minutes?
We'll do what we can.
There you go.
I can talk real fast. Follow along.
Jump quickly.
So here's your capital projects. We have, for this next year coming up, we've got a tilt gooseneck for the parks. Bleachers, that was supposed to be this year. They have ordered them, but they will not be until next year. So we've kind of had to shift that. We know that's a given. The pickleball sprinklers, we've had to shift to next year. The metal building for the Traco, just basically a metal cover, it's shed, so we can keep the Traco in better shape. The plow truck, we have a truck bed that the salt has ate through. We need a new salt bed. According to what Jared said, and I believe it, because the salt does eat. And then we have been told that we're gonna have an $89,000 fee for our irrigation line to be connected into the cemetery if we want to water our cemetery. So those are the capital projects that we know we pretty much are gonna have. Which is 433,000. And then we've looked at our Class C roads. We probably need to do this 5100 project that has got postponed till next year. And then also the 5500 south to 5100 south on 5500 west is this next year as well.
55 south to 51.
Yeah, so the one that goes from
I have to really.
5500 south to the Davis County border is probably going to be fiscal year 27. I think the one going from 51 south to 55 isn't until fiscal year 28.
Is that?
I
Okay,
think so.
That's gonna be a grant as well.
That's a grant. Yeah,
okay.
we received both WACOG money and from Wasatch Front Regional Council. I could look. I just
Okay.
barely had. I
That's
barely
what I
had that.
had.
You're fine.
That
You're just
this
fine.
last year.
Yeah.
Okay,
I did pull up two of these numbers, so these were the grants we received that we had applied for, so we did receive full funding for it, we called it an ADA sidewalk, that's a sidewalk down at the main park. So there's wheelchair access now if you came in on the east, that would go to the pavilion, to the bathrooms, to the military marker, even we're hoping maybe to the rodeo grounds. We received $30,000 for that. The total, as we wrote the grant, was 60,158, but most of that was our employees doing some of the work, so we may have some cost in that we thought could do park impact fees.
and would that be this next year or the following?
Yeah, we're hoping we get it done by Tomato Days would be good if we could. And then the other grant we received full funding for was for the baseball softball field upgrade, which was 26,430, which is what we received. And that was pretty much for the lights, to change those lights, the old halogen to the LED lights. Our portion was going to be some labor again and some, they call it diamond dust. It's new dirt to fill in, and that was $15,914, which also could be park impact fees. We didn't get any of the grants for Hooper Tomato Days. But I did just apply. We could apply for 3 easy grants. So if we get those would all be for Tomato Days, and that would be 10,500, but those were due today. I turned them in on Monday, so we don't know.
What do we spend on Tomato Days?
Well, we budget 100,000. But we also budget that much for it to bring in as well. The idea of Tomato Days is hopefully that it would pay for itself. So
Last year, I think we
Oh.
figured we had about 40,000 above.
Yeah,
We brought in more than we paid out.
We usually.
But we also had a $50,000 grant.
Yeah,
Oh, last year.
So, yeah, so we're kind of holding that, we're gonna, I don't wanna say reserve it, but we're gonna put it as its own
Mhm.
kind of line item in the fund balance, so we can track that we're not, going deficit with tomato days.
I think the goal to break even and then
Oh, yeah.
we're up
Yeah.
1 year, next year we might be down a little, just.
As long as- Yeah, it just needs to be covering itself.
Yeah.
we have great sponsors and we don't charge for a lot of our events and that's due to our sponsors.
Like with the pickleball, didn't we get a grant for that as well?
Well, parking lot.
The sprinkler in the parking lot.
Yeah, I was right there. So the bleachers. Oh, yeah, that should have. 15,000 too, that we got for that, didn't we? Was it full 15? I think you're
I
right.
did pull up those numbers.
I think you're right. That was that.
We may not plant the grass this year though, if there's no water.
This probably wouldn't be a great year to plant that.
We were talking, is there any way to do some more xeriscaping or I don't know.
More rocks.
So-
Is there something
Cra-
that's we?
Crazy question, what about putting in artificial turf instead of planting grass? Has anybody researched what that would cost?
We did, actually on a sewer station. It was more money to put in, obviously you get
Yeah.
out of the maintenance. The biggest kind of factor that we decided maybe not was how long it lasted.
Okay, and I've had that concern, but I just heard a company talk the other day that puts it in, gives you a 25-year guarantee
Hmm.
on artificial turf.
That's what I read too.
If you've got a 25-year guarantee and you don't gotta water it, mow it, maintain it, do anything to it,
It's pretty.
You can
It-
spend it.
you could spend some more on it and you would come out way far ahead.
It's a good thing to look at.
The school where Cindy works put it in and they love it.
Okay, the kids are out there even, well, not this year, we had no snow, but when there was snow, it was always, and the kids, you'd see them out there
Yep,
laying
all
on.
the time.
Yeah,
They love it.
and we may have
I think-
another $89,000 connection fee for out here. We don't know. That's something, it's another discussion. But
We ought to look into that, get artificial turf, because I think that might pay for itself in 10 years and you wouldn't have to ever worry about it again. We need to research that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not that much over there.
No, there isn't. There'd be a whole lot of
we could
grass.
do
It's
some
not.
Escaping in front with some rocks, if ever we, we talked about doing like a small family pavilion maybe sometime, even a small restroom.
When we I think the thought process was to put enough turf around it to keep the sand from blowing onto the courts. We had a plan at one time to expand all that, so I wouldn't wanna spend tons of money if we do plan on expanding and then go tear it out, but
Expanding the courts.
Court.
yeah, the original plan has another phase that puts that many more courts.
Do we need more? I mean, they get used when they get
today, but-
used, but
Maybe when we have
They're
more
busy today.
people.
Long term,
Well,
yeah.
that's a discussion too. Do we do more pickleball or do we do something else? I don't know. Those are.
Maybe ask for donations for more pickleball. It's amazing. People are willing to donate for
I
pickleball.
just hear so many people that don't play pickleball complaining about pickleball. And it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, but it does get used. You don't drive by there very often. In the morning, it's crazy.
About the sheriff contract.
Yeah, let's hurry in just
Yeah.
real quick. The sheriff contract.
I sent this out to you, didn't I? Did you all receive this on the sheriff contract? We may be having a meeting coming up. They haven't decided for sure, but if we do, you'll all be invited to go to that. We fared fairly well. Some of the other cities not so good. So I
Which
actually
makes up
was.
for our percentage issue we've had for so many years, I think,
Yeah, we've been,
Anyway,
Yeah.
I was happy to see that.
Yeah, so I was actually pleasantly surprised when
They
they
kept
found
it.
this out.
At 60,
60-40,
40.
but we got less of an increase.
yeah.
Yeah, ours, in fact, they said, that actually, ours came in less than what they'd actually billed us, and so it really didn't end up being, oh, yeah.
Well, it should be that way. Less.
For sure.
you Have less crime. You should,
Less calls.
yeah.
And they take care of less animals. That's animal control.
So yeah, we're 12%. And the next lowest was Huntsville.
and 11.
And that's it. So we're second for an increase, but look at some of them.
36.
76,
Look at
23,
Fort West
30.
Haven.
West Haven got the hit.
Well,
So did
as
Washington
should be.
too. So they have less employees or less residents than we do.
Yep.
I got 3 kids that work off of that call center in there for law enforcement, and it's, West Haven gets bombed
Mhm.
with calls.
They should be paying for it.
They should be paying for it.
So, we did have, 50,000 increase with that, and they're estimating 50,000 every year going forward. So,
Yeah,
at
that's-
least, so,
Right?
it's something that we need to think about. I'm not saying that we want to, jump into anything, but definitely we need to start having a discussion about how that funding is going to be funded with that 50,000 increase every year. Are we gonna do truth and taxation to fund that? How are we gonna fund $50,000 more in police services every year? So-
You create a new line item for law enforcement so people can see where it's
Where
going.
it's going.
You know, you create a TNT for law
Yes.
enforcement, it goes up every single.
I
year.
agree.
I agree.
We've had so many people that think that that gets paid for out of the property taxes, and it doesn't. That's a whole different ball of wax.
Yeah,
And
I think the police department themselves should just put that as a line item.
Hmm.
The county should
Yeah.
charge
Hmm.
that.
Speaking
But-
thereof, police department,
but we talked about having a small property tax every year that rather than it being a huge one.
Mhm.
That if we really did say this small property tax, sometime we're gonna have to bite the bullet because we have never had a property tax increase.
Well, especially for an expense that large.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's-
Typically, not saying I'm a pro on this, but I have seen it and experienced. Typically, if you can tie a property tax increase to law enforcement or fire, people are more understanding. Just rough number, about 16% increase is what we would need to get $50,000 more. That big of an increase because our property tax rate is so low. When I have seen property tax increases happen, the discussion for next year is done now. The educating the public is done now. The getting the information out to the public, letting them know this is what causes this is what we're looking at, this is how much you're paying, this is how much you're paying for, these services, information, get it out. You start now for next year. And people typically understand more and they're educated. And once the public's educated on it, it becomes a much easier conversation. And a much better conversation to have. It's less feeling oriented. There's still feelings, but it's more fact oriented. But my feelings have always been, if you're gonna do property tax increase, you start the conversation with the public now for next year. And you start the conversation with your council now for next year.
So you said 16%, is that going to be 16% a year, or we would have to go up 16% to cover that increase?
16% to generate 50,000 more revenue.
So the percentage would be
one-
less per year because you're dealing with more money
Mhm.
to start with.
Yeah,
So it'd be a
but you're
little bit.
so
but it's still
small
the same
right
amount of
now.
money.
You're close.
Right.
I mean, it's not a solidified answer yet,
But I'm wondering,
but that gives you an idea. And if you understand how property tax works, unless you do truth and taxation, every single year, your property tax rate actually goes down every year. So you have to do truth and taxation to even maintain your property taxing, your rate.
Well, truth in taxation is you tell the county, we need this much money, you give them a dollar amount. And they give you what your tax rate's gonna be, and that changes every year based on property values and whatnot. And so every year you say, well, we're gonna need this much money, and I say, okay, they'll figure it out and come back with a figure.
Yep, exactly. But right now, because you haven't told them you want more, they say you budgeted or we billed for 300,000. It's not really that much, it's less, truth be known. But you bill for 300,000, you only collected 290. Guess what? We're only gonna build that rate for 290 because that's all you collected. Minus new growth. You know, I mean, your new growth is your only thing that's causing you to get more money.
One quick
So-
question, is there any chance we could get a grant for the hookup at the cemetery for the water thing that we're dealing with?
We could look, I don't know where exactly to look for that, but, yeah.
We ought to talk to somebody about
Yeah.
something like that and see if that was available.
We want to talk about next meeting or
Yes, real
Yes.
quick.
We
So,
obviously need more.
so real quick, so the first meeting in April is actually during spring break, and we don't know if we're going to have any staff here to even do that meeting
Or council people.
or council
council.
people, so we're thinking we probably need to cancel that meeting. But then we could schedule a budget meeting perhaps the next week. And then we could still then have our regular meeting the third week, city council meeting, but maybe sometime during that second week have a budget meeting.
Okay with that. Dale,
Does that sound?
Yeah, for on the ninth,
That'll work.
yeah.
Okay,
I'll be gone down to SUU for a training that week, so
on the 9th?
just that whole week, 6th through the 10th.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So we'll
we'll
figure
have
that
someone
out.
else. Okay, okay, thank you. Well, then, if that's okay, we'll just, no, we won't have meeting on the.
I'm gonna
There's-
try and come up with actual printouts for you at that and the binders like Dell and some of you have. But then keep in mind, I'll have draft across them. They're very draft, but at least I'll have numbers.
We
Can
appreciate
you
all you do.
print out some of them that we don't have that you gave us three?
Yeah,
that-
and that's what I'm hoping is the draft, and I'll try and get that to you sooner.
But yeah, going up, but I appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
Rob,
Yeah, Rob's.
because then they might have questions, so this will be great. Thank you.